Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Realness with 3 S's. I'm your host here, Chantel Francis, here with Michelle, who just watched this episode. What are your overall thoughts? Give it to me right now. Who cares about the rest of the episode? Like, you're conflicted. I know. Tell me more.
I'm conflicted. I mean, okay. I love this show. I love All Stars. And what I love about it is that there's a certain simpleness to it that I love. Like, even at the end, how Brad's like, oh, they're giving their alliance away. It's like the old days where it was so obvious who was against who in a way that's like just really fun to watch. Is the gameplay the best gameplay I've ever seen? No, but I don't care. I'm so entertained. Obviously, I'm so fucking sad to not have Tina around. I think she just has the best commentary ever. So I'm really upset about that. But I also think it was interesting. Like, I don't know. But I'm very happy for Teck. I know Steve was on my team, but so was Teck. And I needed, like, Steve, come on, dude. Like, choose an alliance. You don't have anyone. You went against the one person that you did have from before, and then you get into this new alliance and you immediately betray them as soon as you're on the chopping block. Fuck off. Actually, he probably would have had a better chance against fucking Tyler because Tyler probably would gas out as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, come on.
Tyler's big, but like I don't know if his endurance would be still up. Absolutely. I was hoping that Steve would kick it up a notch and like I could be rooting for him because I do think he's very handsome.
Mhm.
But like the first thing was like, how did you let Casey steamroll you in the deliberation for like last week? I was like, the fact that you allowed your friend to be put in a position where she could potentially go home. Like she said, yeah, Katie said she didn't want to go against Kendal, but that didn't mean that she wanted to go against the other biggest girl in the house that's already showed that she's a really, really physical contender. Like, obviously, that's not who he's going to want to go against. And so the fact that he didn't do anything for her in that deliberation there, I was like so annoyed with him. And then I agree with you. Like, he's saying like, oh, I want to go against Teck because I can win, but like, it's not about winning necessarily unless you keep your numbers and you can build the resistance. Like, winning against Teck would not have done anything for your game because you would have literally have been alone. Like, those other people would have been like, screw you. You went against us. We've been trying to protect you. And now the first chance you get because of your wrongdoing, like you were so bad at this that you were thrown in there on your own, like yourself, and then you want to go against one of us to save yourself. Like, no, babe, like you're done.
You're done.
Do you think that he's going to be asked back?
No.
Yeah, I think that I don't think he had a good showing.
No.
Hi, Dolores. Greetings and salutations to one and all. And I, for one, am very, very disappointed in Tina. So what? Okay, I know you said that you're going to miss her commentary, and absolutely, I'm going to miss Tina's commentary. I was really hoping that she would have gone in. Not that I want Melinda to leave, but beat Melinda and come back, and there'd still be a little bit of back and forth between her and Jodi. So what do you think about the fact that Tina basically threw in the towel and quit? And then with the fact that she's coming back next season.
Okay, so this is a thing. I thought the moment with her and Melinda before and Tyler and they're chatting and she's getting all mad. She's like, because at first when she got nominated, I was like so proud of her. I'm like, she's reacting in a way that is very mature. She's grown so much. And then she started going back to her petty ways. And she was kind of acknowledging it. She's like, here I am being petty, like Tina again, like, screw it, whatever. You're giving me a reason to be bitchy. Like, I was like, okay, she's feeling the fire. She's feeling the fire. But then, you know, when they're asking her, like, how do you get down from this? And she's like, I don't know. I think she really probably took that to heart and thought about, like, the fact that she really, like, Melinda has such an emotional story and she actually likes her and she's built some sort of friendship. And before, she didn't really give a fuck. And so I think in the context of that, she just thought, you know what? Like, I'm not in the right headspace. Like, I'm literally, like, so pissed. I'm becoming my old self and I need time to like figure it out. And then probably after she left, she probably regrets it and probably is like, fuck, like I want to get my head on straight and come back with a winner's mindset again, maybe, like, because this was her first season back. So I'm so happy that they're inviting her back, even though I know we hate quitters. I know.
Well, okay,
and
like, so-
that's why I feel conflicted, because I never want someone to quit, and I think it's bullshit 99.9% of the time. I feel like I see the story why in a way that's different, because it's Tina and she would never do something like this. She's not someone who just gives up. I think she thought she would win because she always goes in like knowing she's going to give it her all. And I think she knew she'd be more faster than Melinda, and she didn't want to send Melinda home.
She would just knock her down and like
knock her down. And like, she, if she was against Jodi, she'd give 110%, even if she lost or won. She would go for it because she's like, fuck you, I'm going to beat you. But I think she really, didn't want to do that. And so for her, I like respect her decision in a weird way, even though obviously I'd prefer her to just compete and let the chips fall where they fall. But like, I don't know. I kind of get it. And like, I want Melinda to have another chance, even though I don't think Melinda's really a contender to win or anything like that. Obviously not. But, and also I think this episode really was, sorry to go off topic, but I think this was really, a great showing of not necessarily Tina having enemies, but how good of a position Casey has put herself in. She really like has good friendships and good protection on all sides, it seems, in a way. Like or not even on all sides, but enough of the majority. Like she really has herself in a good position. And I don't think it's just because people are like, oh, well, she'll be easy to beat later. I think it's because she has all these genuine friendships. And her social skills have been really good.
She seems to be the backup vote for all the time, though. So
yeah,
it's kind of like people are willing to put her in, but it's because they know that she has the numbers to stay. But like, why wouldn't they put in Jonna or put in Jasmine? Like, why are those people are not even like having to be on the board as the 4 people being put in there? So I do think that she is insulated. She's playing a better social game than Tina was. Tyler really pointed that out. And I think that Tina was kind of still in an old school mindset of 15 years ago, where like the vets just are untouchable because they're vets and they wouldn't get the votes. The person that's more of a rookie would be going in. And I think that she was just relying on that, because she was literally shocked that she was going to be the one that was going to be going down there. And I'm really surprised that she was shocked.
Me too.
Because like your enemy in the game is in power. And she puts you up against somebody that was just in power the week before and has a lot of friends. Exactly. Like, who did you talk to? Like, who did you think had your vote?
Exactly. I agree. I mean, I think she had the couple people that she had, which was like,
but those are all the King's Palace people.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I think I agree with you. She didn't have that foresight. And it's kind of crazy that they're inviting her back, because normally when someone quits, it's like, fuck you, you're fucking done, usually in that kind of way, if they just don't even do an elimination.
Unless she had it in her contract to just do like 3 episodes, 4 episodes, 5 episodes or something like that. Like maybe that's all she agreed to. And that like, not like she was going to bow out or whatever, but like maybe she was just like, maybe she was always going to like leave this early. Maybe she had, I don't know. So. I'm just trying to think.
I mean, that could be, but I take that as more of like the people on the regular seasons now, on the main season, because they do things for certain. It's always a perception of this or that, or they need to leave because they were going to this and they're all blah, blah. I think Tina is a very genuine person, and that's why I love watching her. And so when she's angry, she's genuinely pissed. And I think when she's feeling a type of way, she genuinely is like, fuck, like I want to do the right thing for what I think is right in this moment. And like, that's how I'm taking it. Maybe I'm just gullible, which I'm known to be very gullible. So perhaps, but I don't know. I just take her as such a real person, which is why I'm just obsessed with her.
I'm still obsessed with her. And like, I just podcasted right before this with Drew and Chris. We were on Reality Pop, and they're so mad at Tina for quitting. And they're like furious. And why would she come back? And like, she shouldn't be invited back. Like, they're super upset about it. And I'm kind of like, well, I still would rather see like 5 episodes of confessionals with Tina than like with some other people that like didn't quit or whatever. Like Janelle hasn't quit, like, but like, do we care that she's on this season? No. Tina, for me, I was just always like, what's Tina going to say? Where's she going to do? Where is she? Like, I'm always looking for what she's going to do in this season. And so she did something that was completely shocking to me. I agree with you that she probably regrets it and maybe begged for an opportunity to come back and really prove herself, because I think that she just didn't realize the game that she was playing, didn't realize that she was going to feel bad about going against Melinda, didn't realize that all these old feelings that were going to come up and angry Tina that she's kind of like thought she had dealt with, like, is going to resurface. And I think it was just overwhelming for her. But now she's like, okay, wait. This is a lot of money. Like, I can figure out how to win this game. I'm capable of winning this game. Can I please have another chance? I won't let you down. So I'm hoping that's what's going on.
Yeah, and like, she is such good TV. Like, every episode, regardless of whether she was in the heart of the drama or not, there were many confessionals of Tina. Did we see Kendal this episode? You know what I mean?
Who?
Did we see, like, exactly, like, did we see more than one confessional from Janelle? Like, it's like, you know, these people like her are interesting. You're like, whoa. And she's just so funny and witty that they couldn't deny an opportunity, especially with the rumor I'm hearing that Beth might be coming into the season partway through or something.
Yeah.
And that history.
She'll have Veronica there.
And like, hopefully, I know Veronica from Twitter, she hasn't really changed that much. She's still pretty like set in her ways of like who she hates. But like, maybe Tina will have a good influence on her. Maybe Tina will actually reconcile in a weird way with Beth. Maybe she won't. Like, either way, I can't wait to see that.
Absolutely.
You know?
And from what I've seen about All Stars, like any of the tea, that Tina doesn't seem to be in any of like the unfollowing and the fighting that's happening. Like Jonna, I think, is in a fight with somebody. It might have been Beth. And Janae are like Janae and somebody, I can't remember who, and Beth and somebody, I can't remember who. And so there's just a lot of fighting, and I don't remember Tina being one of these people, which I think is also very interesting. So, not that I'm looking too far into the future, but you know, I am excited to see what All Stars 3 has to bring. I'm more excited about All Stars 3 than I'm excited about Challenge 38. To be fair. Unless it's X's. Unless it's X's. If it's X's, I can get behind being very excited about that.
Same.
Like, I could be very excited. You saw probably in the ethers that like Theo is like trying to get himself back onto the challenge, but he's like, yeah, me and Cam, would take down you and like Joss and Amanda. And I'm like, oh my God, yes, give it to me. Yes, Kyle and Cara Maria, please give it to me.
Oh my God, give it to us. Fucking give it to us.
Somebody was also mentioning, like, give me Banana and Morgan.
No,
I don't think they would actually come on. But
she would never do that.
But then maybe Bananas and Angela, or Angela and Nelson.
Oh, stop! No, Nelson and Ashley.
Nelson, I mean, that would be good too, but
that would be a good team.
Couldn't we be Ashley with somebody else though? Like, because we want Nelson to use one of his other people, you know, to bring somebody new in. Like, Ashley's been with somebody else, right? Maybe bring back Jamie from back in the day. Cuz. That would be amazing. So Sophie is here as well. Hi, Sophie. Sophie's also disappointed in Tina. I know, it's hard. I mean, she didn't know what she was getting herself into, I think. She didn't realize. It's a lot different, this game now, and she probably wasn't ready for it. She probably didn't keep up with what was going on, like the different seasons. She probably just like was out of her element, and now she probably will do some homework. She'll probably gain some allies, like do some DMing, like, you know what I mean? Set herself up a little bit better, because that must be what Casey did. You know what I mean? Like, just like get some loyalty.
Exactly.
Hi, Sudani. Thanks for joining. All right, Sophie says, I'm confused with Tina. I thought she signed up for next season of the Challenge All Stars. So what she said in today's episode didn't make sense. What exactly did she say?
She said, I don't think I'm cut out for this. Like, the environment of the show, I don't think I'm cut out for it. anymore or something, or I
I
don't
mean,
think I'm right for it. It's right for me.
I think the producers were asking her to come back.
I agree.
And the producers were like, listen, you definitely had an unfair advantage for the fact that you didn't have anybody that was on your side going in there. What if Veronica's on this season? At least then you'd have a friend going in there and they'd be like, and we'll give you some money, da 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 da. Because regardless of what Tina does, yeah, she's a quitter. She's an appearance fee, exactly. Like, she's good TV. I'm enjoying watching her, and I can forgive her for quitting here.
Me too.
I can forgive her.
Because she'll never do it again. She will never
really
do it
don't think so. Not like Katie. I forgave Katie, and then she came and did it again, and I don't forgive Katie anymore. I don't want Katie back, to be honest.
No.
Like, unless she gets over her fear of heights.
Yeah, I'm over Katie.
Which I never thought I would say, but all right, Steve played a rookie move by betraying his lines that quick. It's so rookie. Like, it's so dumb. Like, yeah, it was
said
ridiculous.
It in front of Nehemiah.
And yeah, and Melinda, who's also in that group, who potentially would go and take it back to the group, you know? But he was saying it like he didn't even realize that he was like saying the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Like, so bad at the game.
Terrible.
Hi, Jorge. I'm conflicted with Tina. I like her messy ways, but at the same time, if she doesn't want to be that angry Tina, I think it speaks to her growth. Exactly. So she was just having an existential crisis.
Yeah.
Like, I know, like, for instance, like, sometimes I'll go back and, like, I'm hanging out, like, at my parents' house at Christmas time, and, like, all of a sudden, like, this fighting and I'm, like, as if I'm, like, a teenager, and I'm like, whoa, this dynamic is bringing out a version of myself that, like, I haven't been that way in 20 years or whatever, you know what I mean? But sometimes your environment brings up some things, and so maybe she just needed to go deal with some of her anger stuff, maybe talk to a therapist, really, like, kind of be like, okay, this came up for me. What do I do about it? How do I go back and play this game and win without reverting to somebody that was angry? Because people are going to be treating her how they know her to be, and so it then you just become that person again. So
exactly.
Hopefully she's just going to put in the work, and she's going to come back, and she's going to come back and win it. That would be like, that would make me feel great. Tina, do that for me, please. Will the real Casey please stand up? Yes, Sabu. Oh, Casey. Okay, let's get into this episode a little bit. I have to say, I was so excited at the beginning of the episode. They're playing do you know that? Do you know the whole dance? It's kind of like the Macarena, or and like I used to do it when I was in Mexico, and like and like I was totally so excited to hear that song. It's one of those songs that, like, I got so happy every time I was in Mexico and I'd hear "Look Catch Up" playing, and like it's such a
they'd always play it at like school dances in high school.
Oh, it wasn't around like when I was in high school. So like it was only when I was on vacation, and like I would hear that song, and like and it would be like at like a one time I heard it in Mexico karaoke night, and so you'd see the big video and like you'd have all the words up, and so like it was super fun. So I loved hearing "Look Catch Up" playing. And then we started seeing Melinda here having a couple of confessionals. I was like, okay, so this is her episode spike with the visibility here. I'm like, okay, so she's definitely going to be going down. Maybe she's going to be going out. We do see in the previews beforehand that she's going to be on the ground and dealing with medics. So I was like, okay, this might be her episode to leave, is what I was kind of thinking. We get introduced again to the King's Palace. So that's going to be Teck, Nehemiah, Latarian. We're talking. They include, what do they call her? Melly-Moo?
Melinda?
Yeah, they call it, what do they call her though? Melly-Moo?
Oh, something like that.
Teck calls her, like, I think it's Melly-Moo. And then they're saying that, and we'll bring in Teck we'll bring in Steve, because Steve is kind of like an outlier. He's not with anybody. Let's bring Steve in. So like they're considering Steve to be part of their alliance. You think that the problem is that they didn't really explain to Steve what his role was here, since he doesn't get the game? Like, do you think? No,
because they, like, last week or whatever it was, they were the ones that were like, explain to Steve the whole plan of like, put up the people who have the
three-headed snake, whatever, light shield,
whatever, and like got him to do all that stuff to the point that he forgets about helping his actual friend. And then after that, like, it's like, obviously you did that because that's part of an alliance choice. Like, I felt like it was pretty clear that they were aligned. But I guess, yeah, they should have known he was terrible and didn't understand anything. And they had to, like, really slowly explain it to him, like, bit by bit.
Right? So maybe that if they had brought Steve into at least maybe this conversation and
Mhm.
just be like, listen, we're all in this together. Let's do our best to make sure we never go up against each other in an elimination so that we'll never have the chance of taking one of us out so we can like keep our numbers as best as we
Exactly.
can. Like maybe they needed to just like spell it out for him because the fact that he doesn't see it is like pretty annoying, but maybe they needed to explain it to him a little bit better.
Yeah.
Like, you shouldn't have to, but maybe
No.
you do. We see Tina talking to Casey, and, Casey's been like, I always thought you were kind of like a bully. And she's like, now I've changed. I'm trying to be a little bit more diplomatic. I want to be playing fair. And even with how she was speaking to Casey, she seemed kind of like a motherly figure. Like she seemed quite kind and like a nice
Exactly.
person that I would want to be around. So she's like a nice person that does decently well in some of these challenges, that's willing to give it back to TJ. Like, she's great. And I was like,
Amazing.
I was so happy when she was having this moment with Casey. And then I can't believe like how the episode changes at the end. I was like, no. We next see the scene where this was pretty sad, I felt, where Melinda's talking with Janae and MJ about that the next day was going to be her originally planned C-section day for the baby that she ended up losing. And they kind of went into quite a bit of detail. So I'm sorry if this is traumatic. So there's a bit of a trigger warning here, but with the fact that she had to actually deliver her baby, that is so traumatic. And so like for the fact that she's still on the challenge and working through it, and when they went to hug her and she's like, you're so strong, and like I cried a little bit when they both like bear hugged her, because I was like, that's a really very, very strong thing to have to experience, and then having to relive it a little bit away from home, away from your family, away from any of your other children, on this like really high emotional show. I was pretty impressed that she was able to handle it, to be fair.
Yeah. And also just like, she even made a comment, I think maybe it was before that in the confessional, about how the environment on the show is just so supportive. And,
yes, she did.
It speaks as well to like for her to have this happen, what ends up happening to her on the daily, she gets injured on that same day. Obviously, that's going to be hard for her in so many different ways. And then she has to go into elimination, and then she's going to lose. Like, that would just be too heart-wrenching.
And
like,
I'm wondering
if was like, no, I can't allow that to happen.
Exactly.
Because that is too sad. Like, it's like, you can't, like, I don't know. I don't know if I'd be able to do it. Like, I don't know. Like, if I was in that situation, I'd probably like not try as hard. I would pretend I was trying.
And that's what I'm wondering too, like, because we do see Melinda, Tyler, and Tina having that conversation later on in the episode. And I'm wondering if like she did share with Tina what she was going through on that particular day. And maybe that's just it. Like maybe Tina was just like, I can't go and take down this really sweet woman that's really experienced something really traumatic and already had to go to the hospital. And you hear when she does go to the hospital that Tina's like, you get better, Melly. Like she was like really like supporting her going to the hospital and wanting her to come back strong. And so I think that she just got a little bit soft.
I agree.
Tina as well.
And I like that. Like, I like Tina becoming soft, and I know that that's crazy, but or at least having that moment and realizing that, and like, and the fact that she'll come back and be able to separate it,
Mm-hmm.
But this was a season for her to kind of like feel the changes of who she is. And now how does she come back at the game as this new version of herself? How can she be her new self, but still be really strategic? There are other ways. She just got to figure it out. And as you said, she's at a disadvantage because everyone assumes she's going to be who she was.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly.
Everyone's always going to assume she's going to be the way she was. as people have that impression for a lot of people, obviously, but like some of them are doing the same thing, like Casey sucking, for example. But I mean, yeah, I don't know.
So Jorge says, it is how we praise CT for his growth. So I think we should praise Tina for saying, I don't want to be like that anymore.
Yeah.
Absolutely, Jorge. I 100% agree with you. And I think that, CT, how many times has he punched somebody and got sent home right away? Like, this was a different version of that, where she got herself sent home and is going to come back and grow, hopefully. And like, look at how CT is now. Like, he's gotten to one kind of argument with Kyle this season and an argument with Fessy last season. But like, where those times he would have gone to blows in a second 10 years ago, 15 years ago. So I think that let's give a little bit of grace here to Tina for not realizing what it would require of her to step back into this environment and allow her the opportunity to choose how she wants to show up now that she knows what it feels like to be there. So I'm going to give her a little grace. Where is the tea spilling jelly donuts? Yeah, there she is. Or they are. I'm not sure if he or she. Y'all, I'm tired. It's been a long week. I got no tea off the top of my head. LOL. It's okay, Jelly. They didn't show Kendal at all during this episode. We saw her sitting in the selection process, but that's all I saw of her. It seems like we are in for another twist coming up. Oh. I haven't seen that preview.
No.
Every time I see Jonna and MJ, my eyes perk up. I know. I'm like, oh, they're sitting talking with Melinda. Okay. Those two. I definitely have my eyes perk up as well.
Me too.
Hilarious. I can't wait. I hope we get to figure out how it all goes down. It's not out out of the season.
Yeah.
All right, so we get to the daily, and the daily is called Bounce Back. And this was a pretty fun one, I thought.
It was fun.
Like lots of elements that, some people could be good at all parts of it or some elements of it, where basically there's kind of like a trampoline staircase up to 3 puzzle pieces that they had to jump and knock down into the water, swim the puzzle piece to the shore, do that 3 times. And with these pieces, it's kind of like a cipher. They'd have to place it into the equations to solve 3 equations on the puzzle board. So I really like this challenge, but I feel like the women were at a disadvantage, that they didn't do some maybe height modifications for the women or something, because the shorter women had a very, very, very hard time, especially Casey. Casey was up first. She was able to hit the first time, and she kind of went around a few times. I think she got 1 puzzle piece. And when she got to the second puzzle piece, she got a bad fall and she quit. So what do you think about the whole seemingly not being fair to the women and Casey quit?
Well, it was definitely much more difficult for the women. I think it was a height thing and a distance thing. And if they were both going, there was a women's one and a men's one, right? Because they went at the same time. So why wouldn't they just make the women's one a little bit shorter?
A little bit.
Like that was confusing to me. So I agree with you on that. But at the same time, it didn't really matter because it was kind of just like best girl, best guy, and worst girl, worst guy.
But the problem is, though, I think, with it being for the women that were shorter, is that it made them fall more awkwardly because they're trying so hard to try to reach it that they don't have enough time to like get their body in position so that they can fall appropriately and not smack the water like awkwardly. Because like if you saw most of the guys are just like, oh, let's dunk this, and just like, you know what I mean, and they were able to fall more normally, but the women were like, like the timing was off because they're not able to actually reach it. So I feel like
that was a mistake on their part, I think, for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So only the women got hurt, right? None of the men that we could see like had any bad falls. They were all able to do it at least on their first run around. Most of the women had to do like hit one side down, then hit the other side down. So going 6 times instead of just 3, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
which is also more exhausting. And then when you're more exhausted, you're not going to be as efficient and you're going to fall badly. So I think that they made it more dangerous for the women.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what do you think about Casey quitting, TJ being like, come on, Casey, give it a try, or give your hand at it, or give it a try. And she's like, I'm going to try my hand at an arena.
I just wish she had to go in. That's my truth. Like, I think her quitting should have counted worse than Melinda getting injured and actually not being allowed to continue. I'm annoyed by that, even though I understand the rules. But I just it and she did try quite a few times. Like I'm not saying she didn't. Like she did go. It's not like she just went once and was like, nah. Like she did keep trying for a bit until she was winded. And I'm sure I would also be pretty terrible at it in terms of falling in the water a
But you're
bunch of
very
times.
tall though, so you'd probably actually.
I probably would. Yeah, probably be easier for me. But I don't know. I don't hate her. Like I'm fine with Casey. I just, in the context of everything,
I wanted her to go into the elimination.
I wanted her to go in. Yeah.
Because that's what she said. She's like, I'll try my hand at the arena. It's like, good. Then you are going into the arena. You are saving. She should have had to put her money where her mouth was and save Melinda in that point for going into the elimination, because she quit. Melinda was taken out.
Yeah, exactly.
So I was annoyed. What do you feel about Teck? So Teck, he does a pretty good job, and then he starts messing up on the equation portion of it all, and he throws a little bit of a fit.
I'm not gonna lie. It made me realize that he's never gonna win because he wasn't even trying to deduce the math. And I'm terrible at math. But I can be like, okay, well, 30 is like about this amount. 35 times is going to be about this amount. So that makes more sense than this number because the numbers were really drastically different. So you'd at least be able to kind of deduce, okay, like for me, I'd probably be like, oh, it's probably around this and I'll try that. Okay, I know that 4 times 12 is not fucking thousands of, like whatever the number was. Like one of the times I was like, that's clearly not what that is. So that makes me worried. It doesn't mean he's going to be bad at puzzles because puzzles are different. Math, maybe he just doesn't do math and can't, who knows? So that makes me a little concerned for him.
Yes, because like it does seem that they, especially on All Stars, that they have more math puzzles in there than the main season. So it does worry me a little bit. But I think personally, I think that the reason why he did so bad, it was that his adrenaline was going. He realized that he had a pretty good time and he wasn't thinking correctly. And so that also bodes well for maybe not being able to do well under pressure, which could be not great in a final. Not great in a final. But I love Teck so much.
Me too.
He do I have a crush on him? I don't know, but like I kind of do. Like I just love him, but it could be also because he's an Aquarius. His birthday's the day after mine.
He has the best personality. Even though,
thank you. No,
it was a little erratic when he freaked out after, but it was also like he's passionate.
Love Teck. Gotta love Teck. Hi, Andres. Andres says Tina is a real one. I think that she was genuinely angry. She got sent in, and it scared her. She was reverting back to her old self. Absolutely agree. Absolutely. Sophie says the King's Palace is a dorky name. I don't mind it. What do you think?
I think it's cute.
It's fine. It's fine. I'll let him have it. Do you have a better one, Sophie? What would you rather them be called? Let's just workshop this. Jonna unfollowed Beth. Okay. I won't spoil it, but it has to do with the peanut gallery helping Jonna in the elimination. Okay. Interesting. That's interesting. So season 38, a mixture of rivals and exes, please. I think I want all exes because then it might weed out some people from being on there. Like if it's rivals, most people that I don't like will have somebody that they can have as their rival. So actually, I guess they all can, can't they? Does Casey have an ex yet? I can just leave her off that.
Yeah, Casey would be the only person that
Not an ex. Josh we talked about this would have like maybe Georgia or
Esther.
Esther. Fessy has a whole plethora. Amber, does Amber have any exes? I guess maybe Jeremiah. I
Jeremiah.
don't want to see that. That's
No,
so
no one
boring.
needs to see that.
So boring.
Boring. But Amber B has tons of rivals.
Amber B and like Barta being a rival team would be, I could get behind that.
Mm-hmm.
I could. Oh, just as long as Natty Negrati is not on. I agree. I'm not a fan of Natalie Negrati. There's a lot of people that are super Natalie stans. I don't know if it's just because she's so cute. But I was watching even one of the seasons that she was on recently, just like a few episodes, and I was like, she's annoying. I don't enjoy her on this show.
She's very annoying. She's very, very annoying.
Ooh, oh no, Ashley and Hunter. Ooh.
No, I will not stand for that.
No.
Hunter can never come back.
And he's like, Kara wouldn't come without Polly. But like, but Kara and Kyle would be just like without Polly. Ooh.
He would never allow that.
Does he
Although
have
maybe that they're all like, now that they're like open, maybe he like won't care. No, he'll still care because it's Kyle. And Polly seems to care so much that he wants to constantly hate on everyone who's on the show.
It's true. Veronica also responded to a Twitter comment this week, pissed people can help during an elimination. Interesting. I mean, it is annoying a bit.
It's annoying, but it's always been a thing. Like, there's been in old seasons, like some people, that would be the hard thing. They'd be like, yeah, you run that way. It's this. Like, people would try to help each other. And it depends on the challenge, how much help is able to have.
Like would you think it would be better of an episode if like the challengers didn't get to watch? Like they weren't even allowed to be there? Do you think it would be better if it was just like they go down to the arena and then they come out and you find out who won?
No.
I agree. I think
I like when people watch because then they get to see things and then there's drama like we saw this week with Tori and whatever, right? And the same thing with this. I mean, it's interesting to see people try to help someone. Like, don't you remember in War of the Worlds when Wes literally gave Dee all the answers for that thing because it was about the short order of challenges and she had never watched the show? Like, that pissed me off, but he did it all for her. So you can't act like that's not a thing because it's been a thing. It's part of the challenge. Yeah. Who are your friends? Who's going to help you? Who's going to hinder you?
And like, who is yelling? Who's cheering for you? Like, you learn who your friends are in that. You learn who your
friends are, and it draws lines in the sand, and it creates this tension. Like, honestly, it's part of what makes the game unique from Survivor or other games.
Absolutely. I agree. I don't mind it. It annoys me when the people that I don't want to be getting help is getting helped.
Yes.
But it's something that I feel is part of the show.
Yeah.
Hi, Speaking the Truth. So Speaking the Truth is asking, did we see the picture of Fessy and Mark Long in a stare down? I've not seen that.
No, I haven't seen that.
Okay, Michelle's on it though. I've not seen that. I know that they're doing some sort of match in Canada, but I think that's Big Brother stuff, like a boxing thing.
I don't know.
Fessy and Mark Long. Oh,
well, I know there was that drama where like Fessy made some comment about how he could easily take Mark Long and or like not take Mark Long, but take any. I don't know what it was. Some Fessy statement, and Mark was the one that was like, "Excuse me, hi."
Yeah, so Jorge's saying like probably has to do with Mark saying he could take Fessy. Yeah. I think he probably could because Fessy, like, I don't know. I mean, yes, he's a football player. Yes, he's won 2 Hall Brawls and a pole wrestle, but like, I don't know. I'm not really intimidated by him. Like his size wise, you would probably not want to go against him in one of these kind of brawls. But like, I'm not really that intimidated by him, you know?
Yeah.
Oops. Okay, so there's a rumor of Tina and Naya bonding on All Stars, and Naya has grown over the years. Yes, I heard that I saw that Naya made a tweet saying like, "Hey man, like people can grow up and they can change," and so maybe she wasn't a super
Ooh.
hothead on the season, and so
I
that's
would
interesting.
be low-key obsessed with Tina and Naya kind of bonding over like everyone expects us to be raging bitches because that's what we were. And we're
Oh, I
different
just got
people.
goosebumps.
I would love that storyline. I would love that
Yeah.
storyline.
And like maybe like Veronica doesn't fit in with them anymore because like she's still
She
willing
wants to
to.
still be, petty. We'll see.
I mean, a little, just give me a little petty, but
I like a little
like
pettiness. Like you've got
contained
Jemmy. If
petty.
Veronica and Jemmy are tight, so I'm
Oh,
sure
that's
we'll have
true.
some of
That
that.
well, yeah, we'll get enough. Okay, Steve was messy and I loved it. Never knew he'd play such a big role in his time. I mean, he played his big role in getting him out, so he lasted 5 episodes. That was surprising.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Sophie's coming for you, Michelle. The King's Palace is a much worse name for Alliance than Bettina and Friends.
Hey.
I don't know that Melinda. Oh, made it feel bad for her. Yes, it did.
Mm-hmm.
Listen. Oh, Melly Mel. Okay, thank you, Melly Mel. Like nobody's really addressing that they have a nickname for Melly Mel. Like I want to know more so about how her and Latarian have a whatever. Like,
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
yeah, that's why she's in the King's Palace. So that's another reason why I knew that Melly Mel was going to be staying most likely because like I feel like we need to see more of that relationship develop. And so I didn't feel like we had gotten enough of it. So like when Tina was down there, I was like, oh, this is weird. Like I thought that Melinda was going to be staying now.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, it was just who she should have gone up against. Like I wish that Jodi didn't win. Casey, yeah, that would have been great actually. Because like we'd be see like who I think Melinda would have won actually against
Me too.
Casey. She's taller.
Mm-hmm.
Casey got lucky. Absolutely, Casey got lucky.
Yeah.
Why was Steve scared to face Tyler? Because Steve doesn't. Tyler's
Because he
big.
thought if it was gonna be like
A hall
man-on-man
brawl.
combat. Why is that everyone's first go-to? That's only 30% of the eliminations. It's like 30% combat, 30% speed, running endurance, and 30% smarts. That's what it is. It's always like a crapshoot. So you got to plan for like everything and just don't pick someone who's overall good at everything.
Yeah, like don't go against CT, but go against anybody else for the
Mhm.
most part. So it annoyed me that Melinda went down when Casey full on gave up. If I were TJ, she should have been an elimination.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I totally agree with that. I was irritated that it had to be Melinda, especially since she was like having a bad day already. So frustrating. So yeah, so okay, during this challenge, we hear a confessional from Ayanna, and she's like, no matter what happens in this challenge, like I have a life shield, like I'm going to use it on Teck, my boy. Like if Teck goes up against Obama, I would use my life shield on Teck. So she is riding hard for Teck. So we know that this is going to be some sort of foreshadowing. What were you thinking when you heard?
I immediately was like, she's gonna have to use it on herself, because how could you, now that door was opened, they've completely trumped the whole point of the life shield. Because if this person is working with you, you're not going to vote them and they're not going to use their life shield because that's them betraying you. Then if they're not in alliance with you, then you're going to flush it out, and regardless of how they feel about it. We've now seen it 2 weeks in a row. So it's kind of obsolete, except for the fact that you get to save yourself. So
Yeah.
like the one good thing is that like
You're safe no matter
I don't
what.
have to go in. I'm safe. That's fine. Whatever.
That's basically what the life shield is now.
That's basically what the life shield has become. Yeah, exactly.
Safety for the next round.
Yeah.
So then Melinda DQs, and that looked pretty rough as well when she's just kind of like taken off by the ambulance, the paramedics. Tina's technique, well, kind of like a leapfrog technique, getting harassed by TJ, who's poking fun at her for this her technique. And this is where it's, TJ said something like, "Oh, great technique there, Tina," and she's like, "Fuck you, TJ," and like I love the banter. She's
Me
not
too.
afraid of TJ. She's not afraid to tell him to shut up. Like I love that.
And
Like
she's earned her right to do that in a way. Do you know what I mean? Like you can't just come in doing that. Like
No.
she has built this reputation and is just, I love it. I just love it. I know it might be hypocritical, but I love it. I love Tina.
It's well,
I always love Tina. Well, not always.
anybody that can get away with that with TJ, I must be a fan of them. And like I think
Yeah.
that TJ likes it too. Like
Mhm.
I was saying when I was talking with Reality Pop, like I really love TJ feeling like he's with his buds, his friends. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, and this is how he acts when he's on All Stars is that he's with his friends. He's not the handler, that people have to like be scared of. Like, it's just such a different vibe. And like,
Mhm.
I feel like he's more in his element when he's on All Stars. And that was for me a point where like, he can heckle all these people and they're not going to just stand for it. They're going to come at him and just give him a little bit back. And I think he really likes it. He likes to
Mhm.
banter. It's fun for him. So Jasmine also takes a pretty hard hit, and we know Jasmine's tiny, which is like this height thing. It's like I don't know if like her having a really awkward fall and getting the wind knocked out of her is like worth it sometimes. I'm like, can we make it a little less dangerous? But
Mhm.
she decides that she wants to continue on because she wouldn't want any of her children to ever quit. So she is going to push through for her kids. So she does push through. She finishes the daily, and she at the end gets some props from TJ. So what do you think of Jasmine's showing here?
Yeah, I mean, she definitely has the heart. I know based on like previews that she's gonna maybe consider leaving the show at some point, but um yeah, Jasmine, that's what, like, Jasmine kind of is like, if she's filling that role of like a big T person who you're like, they're too small, they're not athletic enough, whatever. Jasmine just has more of that passion and heart and drive in a way that like she's not going to give up on herself at all, and she's really just going to feistily go as far as she can. And I like, yeah, when she had that big fall at the beginning, I was like, oh, she should not continue. So I was very surprised that she continued, and I was happy that TJ gave that moment. Like, I feel like he's really allowing these like really nice emotional moments here and there of just like camaraderie that I really love. And the main season, it's hard when you have idiots like fucking Fessy. It's like, I don't want to be a comrade to you, fucking Fessy, because you are just so full of yourself. It's painful.
Yeah, no humility whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
So, as we already spoke about, Melinda's going to be going into the arena because she DQ'd and she did less jumps than Casey did. I roll. I was annoyed. And between the guys, so Brad and Darrell were seconds apart. But Darrell ends up taking this win, and Brad's happy about this because he doesn't want to nominate 4 people. He'll let Darrell do that. They're working together.
Yeah.
And for the women, it seems like she was way ahead of all the women from how TJ was describing this. Jodi does win. Now, from what I can tell, Jodi seems tall. So, or like at least like a 5'8" ish, so 5'7", 5'8", which is taller than we know that Casey's 5'1.5". Jasmine looks like she's like 5 feet. Jonna maybe 5'3". Like all these other women are quite small, and so there's a big advantage for being taller. So maybe they need to. Maybe Jodi would still have won. It maybe won even more easily, but I just feel like it shows that it's quite unbalanced how they set it up. So Darrell, though, wants to break up that room, the King's Palace. He has his eyes set on them breaking up those guys. And I find it interesting because, like, Darrell doesn't usually take the front seat of the strategy. You know what I mean? Like, he usually is kind of in the back seat, but like, he's like, we got to break up that room. Like, we got to keep this group together. I'm very surprised by the active role that he's been taking in the strategy.
Yeah, me too. I did notice, as it goes on, like he still wants to avoid those confrontational moments in terms of like he wants to keep heat off of himself, as we saw in like the deliberation where he's kind of like, oh, like we made this decision. But you're right. Like, he is taking a more prominent seat, which I really appreciate. And I think that he is growing as a player in that way, because he's realizing after Double Agents, he's like, fuck, I need to do this. Because, and also last season of All Stars, he did well, but he allowed himself to be at the end with people that could beat him. So that's something that he's also needs to change. And I don't know. I mean, it's weird that he's aligning with Brad. I don't think that they would align together if there were other people around. It's kind of a weird situation. But I mean, I
Didn't
have
he
respect
knock
for
Brad
as a
out?
player.
Did he get sent home from punching Brad out?
Yes, he did.
I was like,
think
right
so.
before the final. I forget which season it was,
Yeah.
but like, so I guess they made friends, or maybe they're frenemies, or maybe he knows that he can always beat Brad.
Yeah, but I don't know that I don't think that he can always beat Brad. Like, I don't think Brad is better than Darrell. Obviously not. I think Darrell would beat him, especially seeing how well Darrell did. Like, he got second place last season. Like, he obviously has the endurance and stuff. But it's not a sure thing.
True.
Like Brad is pretty strong. I just think that Brad has too much muscle and not enough endurance. That's my guess.
For sure.
Based on the way he seems right now, based on compared to how he used to be.
I also think though that Brad will be more likely to be put in first. And so I think Brad is a bit of a shield in that side of the house. And so I think that that's also why Darrell wants him there, because like if Darrell's not there, if Brad's not there, Darrell looks like an option. But if they want to just break that up, they're less likely to go for Darrell if Brad's in the mix.
Which is funny because Darrell's the one who's won twice and has been making these decisions. And Brad's kind of like, oh, this is perfect. But like, you still have to vote. And by you voting, you're in front of them being like, I vote for you to go in. So you actually kind of get more heat for the votes in a way than the noms. Almost.
Sometimes. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I would hold it against them. I'd be super bitter. I'm like, you voted for me? I'm coming for you. Like, that's it. Like, I would be so pissed. Like every time you hear like your name be called, I know like my blood would be boiling. I'd be so angry. So I thought that this was interesting, where after the challenge and they're back at the house, and we see Brad, Jodi, and Darrell talking, and Brad wants to kind of be Jodi's new Derrick. And obviously Jodi's going to say yes to this. What did you think about Brad being like, I want to go to the end with you. I want to run this final with you, Jodi?
I mean, I understand why he did it, because she's the strongest girl in the house. She's the most overall athletic and smart person. I don't know. I think she's going to do what's best for her. I think that she had a personal relationship with Derrick that she doesn't really have with Brad, and I think she'll be loyal. Like she'll be loyal to it as long as it's protecting her and serving her. But when it comes down to a final, say it's like when you pick different partners for different parts, I think it will depend on what the part is of who she would want to pick. And I don't think it would always be him. I think she's going to make the smartest decision for her.
What was Brad's original season? Where is he from?
I don't remember offhand.
Me neither right now. Interesting. So Darrell and Jodi plan on flushing these life shields out anyways, which was like, man, like Ayanna's not going to be happy about this, because they want to put Teck in. They want to put Teck in next to Tyler, which I think is interesting that they didn't just like go for it and put two people.
Why do you think they did that?
Maybe they didn't want to make too many enemies. Maybe Darrell doesn't want to take a direct hit at Nehemiah or a direct hit at Laterrian. So they'll just go, I don't know, go Teck. I don't know why you choose Teck. Like Teck, I don't think is that like much of a
I think that they chose Teck because Steve said he wanted Teck. It's an easy out to be like, this person wants to go against you. it's also easy to vote someone in who you don't think is going to come back, because then that's not an enemy for you. So there's that involved. With Tyler, I know Darrell said something about how like Tyler is like a false, like it's just to make it seem. So maybe it's like, because they don't want to make it obvious they're going for everyone in that room. They're like, he's like, okay, like let's split it and we'll put Tyler.
And they know all the girls will vote for Tyler.
They know all the girls will keep Tyler, and Tyler will have the vote, so it'll be fine.
So yeah, you're right. They put in Teck because they're assuming that against Steve, who was the worst, he wouldn't come back, and that would be weakened, and that he wouldn't be mad. Like someone wouldn't be mad, and Steve would be happy-ish with them for giving them somebody that he wanted, that he was able to beat. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I guess that's what was going on. So they obviously have Teck on the board. They call in the life shield holders, which is Brad and Ayanna. And Ayanna sees her name on the board. So her name beside Tina's name on the board. And she's pretty upset. And she asked them to explain themselves. How did you feel about how Ayanna handled this?
She did not handle it well, in my opinion. I did love the moment because it made them really uncomfortable, which I love. Because like Jodi just like can't take the heat, even though like if you're gonna be a winner all the time, you gotta take the heat better. And I feel like Darrell was kind of just like, oh, it was funny, but also like it's a game, and I just don't feel personal in that way. Like if someone was saying my name, I'm like, yeah, it's a personal choice. Yes, I'm gonna remember it, and yes, blah blah blah. But I don't know. I just feel like I'm like, okay, this was what was done last week. Clearly, you're not putting Brad's name up because you're working with him. So that gives me that information. You're making me do this on myself because you were worried I was going to use it on Teck, meaning because I've made it very obvious that I'm aligned with this person. So, okay, that checks out. This is like, that makes sense that you're making this choice. I'm not happy about it, but okay, gotta save myself. Like that would be my stream of consciousness if that was happening to me. It wouldn't be like, this is such a betrayal. Like this is such a like you guys aren't working. You aren't working together. They owe you nothing, actually.
Yeah, they owe her nothing.
And, I earned this. Yeah, great. You earned it, and now you get to save yourself. You don't also get to a life show doesn't mean you get to save someone else. It means you get to save one person, you or maybe someone else. If you were fine with like thinking you weren't going to get voted in, then you could have just kept yourself up there and saved Teck if you wanted to. Like, don't get mad at the game.
I mean, I thought it was hilarious. So she's like, so your intent was taking away my earned life shield for your strategy? I just want to be clear. And she was saying it so passive aggressively. I thought it was definitely entertaining to see how she was making them squirm. And then, Darrell's like, oh, they did it to her last week. It's like, Darrell, you just shaking in your boots here.
I love it. Yeah.
And I loved how she's also like, well, remember this. You're drawing a line in the sand or whatever. And like, I believe that she will remember this. Mm-hmm. And I can see her winning a daily. And I can see her remembering this exact moment.
That is the thing is, it is sort of a double-edged sword still, because it's like you just clearly stated by doing that you're not aligned with that person.
Absolutely.
Like, even if they were like, which is true.
They should have done it. They should have done it to Brad as well, just to not make it that obvious.
To save face, because them just doing it to the one, it's like, okay, great. Now you're telling me for sure you're not with me, and you're also not with Teck. Like, that's what you're telling me. Because if they're like, oh, it's not about you. We just we just want to use up the life shield so that you don't use it on someone. Okay, so that tells me that we're not aligned, because you would have informed me about your decision beforehand if we were aligned. So that tells you all the information you need to know. Like, I think.
Absolutely. I mean, I would have definitely played it more along the way that you played it, but I also just like that she's a bit of a hothead and is just willing to make them feel so uncomfortable. I'm surprised that she didn't think that this would be a possibility, because like we see her having the previous what do they call it? I just can't remember right now. Confessional about like, oh, I'm going to use this on Teck. And it's like, probably not, because now that door's been opened, just like you said, most people are not going to have the opportunity to use that on somebody else. Exactly. Everybody's going to be using it on themselves now. So in the end, it's going to be Tina versus Tina, Casey, Teck, and Tyler will be who is up for the selection portion of it. We see Melinda, sweet Melinda, apologizing to Tyler, Kendal, and Janelle about the fact that she is going to be going in there. So I'm wondering if that's because she's working with them, or like, does she feel like Kendal or Janelle might be potentially going up against her? Like, why was she apologizing to them?
Was it Janelle? I thought it was Jonna.
I think it was Janelle.
Oh, maybe it was Janelle. I think that I just saw it as like, either they're working together to some degree, or she just didn't want any of this to happen.
Yeah. Okay,
like,
maybe like
because she's in front of Tyler and Tyler was nommed, right? So she's being like, oh fuck, like if I
she had
won
done better, yes,
and
he
done
would have
better
been
than Tyler, I would have made sure you didn't get voted in, or whatever it is. I think it's like that kind of emotional wash over.
So next we see Steve talking to Melinda and Nehemiah overhearing that he wants to go against Teck over Tyler. And Nehemiah is obviously going to run this information back to the group. And he's like, we have a rat in our circle. Like, it's very, like, kind of medieval, like with his king's palace. And I love all the references, like, the water is overflowing in the castle. Like, I find it fun.
Yeah, I like it.
So we get to the selection process process, since we're talking to mostly Americans. So the selection process, and Casey is kind of being diplomatic and being like, don't vote for me. And Tina does a similar thing, don't vote for me. And I don't think that Tina thought she was going to be getting any votes. Ugh. And then we see Teck pissed because I guess Nehemiah let him know that Steve wants to go against him. He said something that I didn't really understand. He's like, he doesn't say much is all I wrote down.
Yeah, he didn't really say much.
Did Tyler say anything? I don't think so. But it was, Tina was shocked. No matter what, she only got 2 votes, or like the other person only got 2 votes. So Casey only got 2 votes and Tyler only got 2 votes. Everybody else voted for Tina and Teck. So they are going to be going in against Melinda and Steve. Tina decides to get the pots and pans out later and kind of makes a little bit of a speech where she's just like, nice Tina is gone. Like, I'm going to blow all this up. I'm going to blow all your games up. And she was super mad. Everybody was super like pretending not to be rattled, but they seemed a little bit rattled. And Jodi's like, I'm not going to go up. I'm not going to go after her. I'm not going to go talk to her. Like, that's what she wants. And I'm just like, Jodi's just too annoying right now for me.
She's so good. She's such a great competitor. But the reason that she didn't get asked back after winning is because her personality isn't that exciting, you know?
Yeah.
But I still have such respect for her, and she's earned her place as a champion. 1,000%.
She can come back because she is still able to bring drama because she's always in a position where she has to make decisions.
Yes.
And like, she's not great at handling the heat. So
no.
We'll give her that. What do you think about Jasmine, though, seemingly being so annoyed about how loud Tina is and like, not really appreciating what Tina brings to the table?
I mean, I think that was, to me, I took it as like a humor moment of when she's just like, I'm too old for this. It's just kind of like that epitomizing that moment of like, that's the kind of shit that they used to do. And Jasmine was one of the #1 queens who would freak out and scream and yell and go crazy. And she's like, I'm over it. Like, I don't know. I don't think she's like, I don't know. I thought it was funny. I think just in that moment, they're probably also all like tired as fuck and like sore from like falling in the water a million times. And she's just like, like, why are you doing this?
So Tina does say, welcome to my bad side, Jodi. Jodi probably was scared. But then we see Melinda and Tina and Tyler kind of talking. Obviously, Tina is pissed. The line of the episode is, do you want some green tea?
Yeah.
Melinda trying to make Tina feel better. And I love how Tina was like, I don't want any green tea. Like, what? It was just so perfect because Melinda is sweet and a kind person. And that could have been the moment where Tina was just like, I can't go and knock out this woman that's wanting to give me some cool mint tea to calm me down. Like, oh, she's like, probably I'm too old for this, to be like
Yeah.
ruthless in that manner. Oh, and Taylor, though, one thing that Tyler said, he's like, oh, it was sad to see Tina this way. How he was saying it, though, I didn't really like how he was saying it. He was like, yeah, it's really like sad to see like her like this. And I didn't really read it in that same way.
Me
Like,
neither.
I felt like, okay, she did the pots and pans thing. That's probably what her appearance fee was for. And then she probably was like realizing, like, you know what? No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be angry. I don't want to be taking my anger out on this sweet woman, Melinda. Like, I don't want to do any of that. And I think that she's just wrestling with who she was and who she is now. And I don't know. I have more respect for that than it seems what Tyler was giving her.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Yeah, his comment, I was just like, come on. Like, she actually was processing and she didn't freak out on anyone. She literally patched the pans, was like, here's my announcement. You're warned. Cool.
Yeah.
She was just like making good TV, like having that moment, whatever. And then afterwards, she's just being like, now I'm so angry. And she's confiding in you in that moment. And Melinda's being like, okay, well, like, what can we do to like help you get through this? And Tyler's instead just like shading her. Which I mean, that's kind of a classic Tyler move.
But it's just like, get out of here, Tyler. Like,
yeah.
If you're not going to be your friend, like, F off. That's my opinion, but
Yeah.
it is classic Tyler. So Audrey says, sorry, I have a totally different take. I don't enjoy 40-year-olds fall into water from high up, injuring themselves and almost drowning. Casey tried. She couldn't do it. Big deal. Audrey.
You know what? I can't disagree with this comment. Like, when you put it this way. Yeah, I mean, I thought it was funny watching them fall in a way. Obviously, it wasn't funny to watch them injure themselves.
Andre also says Jodi apparently beat all the guys at this and they didn't even bother showing it, yet they made a big deal about Casey quitting after trying 4 times. That's interesting. Very interesting. Derek F and Josh. No!
Yes, put them on a team together and they can't switch teams. You can't not switch teams. That's the rule. Let's go back to not switching teams. You got to deal with what you're dealt with.
Will Robin be on a future season of All Stars? I don't know. I don't mind Robin coming back. She's a bit of a hot mess. CT helps Emmy and nobody cries about Vet Alliance hypocrisy.
Yeah, I don't know. Are you going to complain about CT doing anything? No one wants to touch it. He's like, he's just sort of his own thing.
Oh, I know, Sophie. Only 5 more episodes left. I can't believe that we're halfway through. It's so sad. Melinda and Latarian, I thought she was married. I know that's just one of the rumors that they have something going on. So just before we wrap it up here, we get to the arena. It's going to be switchback where basically they have to run. They each have 3 lights and they have to run back and forth, switching off the lights of their opponent. The first one to get 3 lights off and they have at least 1 light still on is going to win. So it's definitely going to be a thing of endurance. There's a lot of an open floor, so body checks are allowed apparently. And I have to say, I was impressed by skinny old Teck bodying Mr. Steve and taking him down on that first time. So I was very happy with that. I didn't love that when then next though, like Steve's like, oh, I'm gonna do that to Teck now, because Teck is definitely a lot tinier and like he kind of knocked him down as well.
Yeah, I was like, come on. Teck knocked you when you were because you came towards him. You were in that way, in his direction.
And then Steve makes a mistake. He doesn't flip his switch over completely. So Teck is able to overtake him and win the arena. Nice big upset for Steve because he got who he wanted and he didn't get the win, which I'm happy about. Also happy about Teck having a life shield, so they can't just throw him back in there, which is great.
Thank God. Thank God.
Seriously. So then the next pairing we know is going to be Tina and Melinda. Tina looks like she's about to go and she's ready. And I was like, oh my God, she's going to like knock down poor Melinda. Like, because Tina's pretty strong. And Tina just stands up and allows Melinda to win. So I know we talked a lot about this already, mixed feelings about it. But I'm happy that Melinda got her first elimination win. I'm glad that she didn't have to go home and we already had the episode where Derrick had a very emotional episode and he still went home. Like Melinda having an emotional episode, let's have her stay a little bit longer. So I'm okay with the outcome. I'm so sad that we don't have Tina on our screen anymore for this season.
Me too.
Anything else? Well, actually, the last thing I have to say about this episode is when Teck comes back up there and Melinda, they're all like King's Palace, like just super like open and obvious enough that Brad was like, I think it was saying like they're not even hiding their alliance. So you kind of mentioned this before, but like, what do you think about them being so blatant that their alliance even has a name?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a choice. I actually forgot about that moment until you just said that. Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious that that room was working together anyway. So if that morale helps them do better and win and have like team camaraderie, if they're deciding that they're like a team in some kind of way, then all power to them. But yeah, you're right. It definitely shows how much they're working together. But like, they already were getting voted in anyway, like, you know, tag and whatever. So like they were already on the radar of Darrell. Like Darrell's already like, yeah, those people.
Yeah.
So they just made it even more obvious, I guess. But I think they were always, I think that alliance is always going to be the ones that are in trouble when they don't win power.
Yes, absolutely. Like they already knew who is not working with them.
I hope like next week one of them wins power just so we can have a week of something different happening before we get back to them getting thrown in, you know?
Yeah, no, I feel like someone was saying that there's going to be some sort of twist or a shakeup. So I'm happy about that. I'm hoping that the King's Palace will get some power just so, like you're saying, like it won't just be like a slaughter. Like nobody cares about having the major alliance win everything. Like, no, thank you. Like, let's have Nehemiah win something, throw in some of the big dogs. Like, I'm down with like having them sweat a little bit and like put Jodi in again. Like, even if she comes back, like just throw her in again. Like, I wanted us to have to come back all the time.
They should try to if they're smart. Like, she's like the strongest one. You don't want her in a final. Like,
absolutely. Derrick X and Christian. Are they rivals? I guess they could be, but I don't know if they would do well. They'd be thrown in all the time, I think. And that's pretty much it. The King Palace and the Green Tea Melinda. Yes, that is the name of that alliance. Absolutely. Or the Green Melly Mel. Green Tea Melly Mel. With the preview, it looks like more team challenges are on the way. I'm happy with team challenges because that means a lot of people are safe. So then it's just going to be, it could have a little bit of a shakeup. So that's what I'm looking forward to. No matter what, I love the episode. I love the season. Even with Tina walking out here, I'm just like, I don't know, it's still great. Still love every second of it. So is there anything else about this episode that you want to talk about before we give it the deuces?
No, I think we covered it, and once again, a very enjoyable episode, and I'll always love it. I'm so happy.
Me too. And you guys know the drill, but just subscribe and be part of our little chats. Next Wednesday is Michelle's birthday, so she will not be here with Fanta and myself, but we will be going live after the episode. I know it's the Survivor finale, but we're still going to go live around 11 p.m. Eastern to talk about the challenge. And then we will be doing something on Thursday about the finale for Survivor. So just so you guys are aware, we're still going to do our regular time slot, even if you guys have to watch us in the replay because you're watching Survivor live. What do we want to know from the people in the comments here this episode? Okay, who do you think... Should we talk about Rivals? No, but that's for the other channel. That's for the other show. Well, maybe if we're just going to do some call-outs and early call-outs, who do you think, male and female, are right now in the best position to win this season? Just so we're halfway through the season. Who do you think is going to win right now? Just if you look at the board, who do you think, Michelle, right now?
I would say female-wise, Jodi is like the strongest to win. In terms of position, I think Jonna is in a really good position as well. For the guys, I think Darrell's in a pretty good position. And is like one of the stronger people to win. Yeah, those are I'm going to say, that's who I'm going to say.
I agree with you, girl. So let us know what you guys think. Are we completely off base here? Are we completely wrong? Obviously, no spoilers, but to give us an idea if you agree with our thoughts on who we think might win this season now that we're at the halfway point. Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you, everybody in the chat, for hanging out with us. We appreciate your loyalty and all your comments. And we will see you on Wednesday next week for the finale. Bye.
Bye.